Hi there, and welcome to the short presentation on principles for constructing instructional text. Whether you are constructing instructional text for a written context, such as a textbook, or a face-to-face class, or an online context, or even multimodal contexts, there are a range of key principles that you might want to bear in mind. These principles come from a wide variety of research fields, including, for example, perception studies and psychology, user experience research, and applied linguistics. Let's move on to our first principle, simplify. Mayer's research tells us that extraneous load refers to any kind of work that a learner might need to do that doesn't contribute to the learning goal or outcome. So wading through unnecessarily complicated language, or not being sure what actions to take, or not being able to find materials are all problems that contribute to extraneous load. So we can reduce extraneous load for our students by being direct, avoiding jargon, highlighting the key actions for students, making sure that materials are easily findable, and where appropriate, hyperlinking those materials. And these actions together act to simplify the learning experience for students. The next principle I want to talk about is the principle of personalizing, and that is connecting through voice and tone. Research suggests that belonging, which we achieve in part through emotional connection, is a key predictor of learner success. Now, in face-to-face classroom contexts, most successful educators almost instinctively use body language, tone of voice, word choice to create connection through conveying particular kinds of emotions. However, in the print and online context, there is often an emotional gap between the educator and the learner. And deliberately choosing to personalize texts, including instructional texts, through adopting a particular kind of tone, a particular kind of voice, can build the emotional connection between a learner and an educator. So there's an example of a piece of text in front of you. The little yellow highlighted bits of text are opportunities where the educator has allowed a little bit of their personality to shine through. So they've opted for some informal language, for example, hello, or chat, or the use of super as a synonym for very. They've also allowed their emotional connection to the course to be very clear. I really enjoyed meeting each of you. I loved hearing your voices. This person is obviously not shy with showing emotion in text. A little bit of a caveat for this, though. What is absolutely critical is that you find an authentic way of representing your connection with your students in text. If you are a shy, reserved, quiet, slightly more formal educator, the use of very informal language might not necessarily be what your students would expect from you, and they might read it as inauthentic or false. So it would be a really good idea to figure out a kind of representation of who you are in the text that works for who you are as a human being as well. So let's move on to the third principle that we'd like you to consider, and that is the idea of communicating regularly. Having a regular plan for communication and acting on this has a number of advantages. In the first instance, it allows you to offer instructional text in brief, just-in-time chunks. So that means that instead of telling your students only upfront at the beginning of the course what it is they need to do for an assignment, you would tell them that maybe once at the beginning of the course, but you might also repeat it at the point in time that you would expect them to start working on that assignment. Communicating regularly also offers students the comfort of predictable and regular contact with their educators. If they know that there is going to be a weekly email on Monday morning or on Friday afternoon, then that is something that they can schedule into their lives. Regular communication in this way is also an opportunity to affirm positive behaviors in the classroom and to acknowledge when students are doing really good work and to offer encouragement. So what we've offered to you today in this brief little presentation is we've offered you 3 principles that you can think about when you're writing instructional text. You can find the remainder of this chapter in a book called Design for Learning. We will put the link down below in the description box. It is an open access book, so you are freely available to access it from the URL in the description box and to use and edit bits of the book for your own use.